information to help you run your business better and improve your marketing campaigns. My name is Hank Hoffmeyer, and thank you for joining me on Hank's Marketing and Business Tips. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me on Hank's Marketing and Business Tips today. I am joined by Jerel Bonner. He is the co-founder of Corralling Chaos. I met Jerel a while back through a common connection on LinkedIn, and that shows you that networking actually does matter. He is a knowledge broker that can help general managers and senior executives form A-teams to deliver on the brand promises. Now, that was a mouthful, and I think it's something that we need to dive into and talk about because I think it's important for businesses to pay attention to that. First, Jerel, introduce yourself. Tell me a little bit about Corralling Chaos and what you guys do. And tell me what a brand promise is, because I know I'm intrigued and my audience is probably intrigued as well.
Sure, Hank. So first off, thanks for interviewing me. I really appreciate it, and I'm glad to spend my time with you. So Corralling Chaos is a company that me and my co-founder formed this past fall and early winter in late 2017 to help senior level executives and GMs really understand that they're in a new game, and we're looking at companies anywhere between 25 to 150 people, helping them all align, helping them get together, helping them stay focused and become learning agile for the future so that they can deliver on the brand promise inside and outside the company so that they can create a positive impact for the company. And finally, the company can thrive in the changing markets that's going on right now, which are changing faster and faster than we ever thought. So a little bit about me, I'm a repatriated expat. I left North Carolina 14 years ago to live in China, and I had 3 different careers while I was in China. And from that, I've learned to adapt and learn and adapt. And now I have I've brought that knowledge back, and I'm helping some practitioners in the knowledge space and team development space learn that, hey, if you really want to create value, you actually have to work as a team. You can't work as individuals anymore. So to answer your question, what is the brand promise? Many, many years ago, the first level of advanced marketing was unique selling proposition. And the unique selling proposition is, why do I buy a Starbucks coffee versus Costa coffee? Why do I buy an Apple versus a Dell? Why do I buy a Toyota versus a Ford? So you have a brand promise, and you tell the customer, if you use my services, you will get X. That's the brand promise. Zappos is great at saying the brand promise is. And one of the things that Zappos does great is they deliver great customer service. I have a sad story to tell about great customer service as an example of Zappos. Zappos says we will return anything, anytime, and we will stay on the phone as long as possible. Well, one day, a Zappos representative gets a phone call from a lady, and the lady says, hey, the shoes my husband bought are beautiful. They're lovely. I think he would have totally enjoyed them. And the rep says, well, what's wrong? And she goes, well, I need to return them because my husband's passed away yesterday, and he never wore the shoes. What does the rep do? She turns around and says, absolutely, return the shoes to us. As a Zappos promise, we will not charge you for the shoes. And then the Zappos rep goes one step further, Hank. And she turns around, she looks up for a florist in the neighborhood of the customer and sends a $100 boutique of flowers to the house as a gift on saying, I'm really sorry to hear about your husband's loss, right? That is extreme customer service we just don't see every day, right? So that's delivering on the brand promise. And companies really, all the employees in a company need to know that they're hired for one purpose, not to do a job, not to do a task, but to deliver the brand promise, whether it's to employees internally or clients externally. Not delivering on that brand promise means the company won't be successful. And in today's world, there's 2 brand promises. There's one to the customer, and there's a new brand promise that's come up recently in the last 4 or 5 years, which is how do we deliver on the employment promise? And that's the unique selling, that's the employer value proposition. So why does Hank want to work for eye contact? There's an employer value proposition there that says, hey, Hank, this is how your career is going to develop. This is how the value you're going to create within eye contact. And this is the value you will create for eye contact by delivering on the brand promise. If there's not that unique employer value proposition, then I'm just there for a paycheck. And when somebody else offers me a higher paycheck, I'm out the door.
Right. That was a great synopsis of that, because in my mind, there were so many different examples or maybe a description of what I thought it was. But I think you hit the nail on the head when you say this is why you should do business with us, and it has that value, not the value proposition, but the value of doing business. And that made me think of something I thought of a while ago when hiring employees. Any kind of brand would probably say, I want to hire an effective employee. And that's a great statement, right? You want to come in and have them be effective at bringing in revenue, performing retention, making a client happy, whatever it is, they need to be effective. I like to say they need to be warm and effective, right? You hit the nail on the head when you said the Zappos employee sent flowers, right? That's what I like to do, is like send thank you cards, handwritten cards. Or we had a customer here at Eye Contact where his wife ended up getting cancer, and we were all upset about that, and the representative that handles the account decided to buy a wood plaque, and it said Country Strong on it because they sell country related items, and everyone on the team signed it. We mailed it to them. That shows you care. It shows you're a partner, right? When you go to Apple and you buy an Apple computer or a phone and something goes wrong with it, and if you go in and it's beyond warranty, but they feel that your usage of the product is going to be degraded but still usable, they may in turn fix that product for free. They're delivering the value that they stand behind. And I think that that's important to note as well, where most times, I'm not going to pick on any specific brand, when you buy a Windows machine, a lot of times you have to ship it back to them, and it takes a couple of weeks, and then you get that one repaired back. And if it's out of warranty, you're going to end up paying a lot of money. I'm not saying Apple does that all the time, but there are situations where they say, we want our customers' experience with our products to be so good that they buy another Apple product, or when this one degrades, we want them to buy a replacement unit, and they want to have people tell their friends about it, right? I think it's great. Brand promise. What does that mean for any business owner, whether you're small or large? How can I effectively build a brand promise on my own if I needed to?
Well, so if you want to build a brand promise, you have to make sure that the employees know what they're supposed to deliver to the customer, whether the customer's internal or external. And at the end of the day, you have to know your strategy, which is, how am I different from my competitor? And then you have to know which behaviors actually deliver that promise. So one of the things we talk about at Corral and Chaos is, we will talk to clients and ask them to talk about the behavior that makes the action deliverable. So that behavior might be sending a card. That behavior might be showing up on time for meetings. That behavior might be doing things that aren't expected at the last moment. So if you don't have the behavior, then you can't say, well, then you're going to do well. So if we were to take one of the things that gives the United States, I think, a great business competitive advantage for higher productivity is our willingness to be coached, that most international countries don't have, okay? So we're used to people saying, you know what, you could do it better if you did it this way. You could do it better if you did it that way. And, Michael Jordan became Michael Jordan because he practiced foul shots all the time. He practiced late into the night. And, people say, well, he's a great basketball player. He's a great basketball player because he put the time into being a great basketball player.
Practice makes permanent, right?
Right, exactly. Practice makes permanent. Malcolm Gladwell, highlighted the scientist that said you need 10,000 hours of football. You need a general manager needs to know, hey, do you know, he needs to make sure that the employee and his downstream managers know what the brand promise is, and that manager pushes down the brand promise. And when you give feedback about the work, you need to say, hey, look, if you do this correctly, we deliver on the brand promise. When you don't do this, we don't deliver on the brand promise. Are you thinking about the brand promise? I had a client in China who he had 4 things he wanted his team to think about. Know the client, know the customer need, know the brand, know the market. So every time I would have conversations with the coachees that I was working with, I would say, okay, so as you try to solve this problem, how are you thinking about those 4 things as you make a decision? As you think through and think about this challenge you're trying to solve, are you thinking about how it relates to how does it deal with the product? Are you thinking about the customer situation? Are you thinking about how does it fit into the market with what we deliver? How does it fit into the market to what our competitors? If you're just going, well, I'm going to make this decision, and you haven't thought of those 4 components, then you're not thinking of the brand promise. You're not thinking about creating value. You're just doing a job.
Right. So I think I'm angling for a little bit of free consulting here.
Okay, go ahead.
At Eye Contact, where I think our strength is our people and what we offer. It's the help, the assistance, the support. In the last few weeks alone, I think I got 3 or 4 bits of feedback from clients saying they love how we help them with the application, how we help them with integrations, or how we help them get an email out, and how responsive we are. And I was very proud of that. And when I go to trade shows or conferences and people ask us about Eye Contact, that's what I say. They'll say, oh, so you're just like Constant Contact or MailChimp. And I'll say, yeah, we are. But what we really do is support small, mid-sized, and even large companies, in that we provide somebody to help you, partner with you to make sure you succeed with your emails. Mm-hmm. So I would say that our brand promise is we help you succeed, ... right? And that means we help you succeed in setting up your account, sending emails out, growing your marketing, growing your subscriber base, and helping you with technical items. Would you say that's a fair brand promise?
Yes, those 4 components are part of the brand promise. The bigger brand promise, though, is what's the story, and are you delivering on the story? So at the end of the story, I'll give you the counterpart of that, Hank, and maybe because you asked for business advice, so I'll give it to you. I was at a small business summit event this past fall, and somebody was a social media online marketing person, and they were talking about their email campaigns that they had for their clients. And somebody asked them the question, tell us your greatest success. And I sat there and listened to the answer. And then I turned around to the person sitting next to me. I said, is that your business partner? And they were like, yeah, we're kind of together. I'm like, she didn't answer the question. And the person said, well, really? I think you're kind of right. And I said, yes, what's missing from that answer? So the lady talked about, well, we sent out X number of emails. X percentage got first level clicks. X percentage got second level clicks. And, these were interesting numbers, but as a general manager, I didn't care about those numbers. The answer I wanted to hear was really simple, Hank. Our client wanted to have an email campaign that would generate X amount of revenue for them net. They paid us $15,000 to do the campaign, and the results of the campaign was we generated $30,000, 10% above the expectation of the client. All the click-throughs, all the second things is irrelevant to me, because if I'm paying you $15,000 and my net result is $5,000, I've lost $10,000 on that campaign. And that's not a success story.
Right. Yeah, even though I work for an email marketing company, when I managed accounts, I used to tell my clients, my job's not done until there's a conversion. We would talk about open rates and click rates, but I need to help you get that conversion. And if that means looking at your checkout process or something else, let's take a look at that. Let's figure that out and optimize it. Because if you're not making money, you do not want to pay for tools such as Eye Contact or social media because you feel like maybe it's not working, and it needs to be cohesive, the whole process, how you get your contacts, how you use email marketing, and then your shopping cart or your landing pages, whatever you want to call it, website needs to be fluid. That's where the conversions happen, because it's called the customer journey for a reason. They go through a whole journey. I just wrote a book about that, and hopefully it's going to come out on the 15th. And it's important to look at that whole journey. So
So if we were to replay this conversation, when we talk about the brand promise and the behavior, when your team goes to clients and say, what's your conversion rate today and how would you like to increase it by 10%? And 6 months later, you go, look, we've increased your conversion rate by 15%. Now you've delivered on the brand promise.
Right.
Otherwise, all that other work was nothing.
That's right. It's exactly true. That's what we live by here. We have a service called Premier, and that's where you actually have a consultant that works with you to help you get those increased opens, click rates, and conversions.
Right.
We dig into the Google Analytics if the client lets us to look at that and say, on this email, you made X amount of money, or, hey, let's resend that same email with a different subject line. And, oh, look, that one made more money. Let's do some more testing like that.
Right.
But yeah, so it'd be, we help you succeed through the effective use of email marketing, whether you need support or through the marketing aspects of email marketing, we're there for you.
Right. Exactly. And if you finish with increasing your online conversions, that's the whole story.
Right. I think as a speaker, I started to develop like kind of a tagline that I want to use, and I'm probably not going to remember it off the top of my head. I got to pull this up because maybe I can get feedback from you, and then I can get feedback from my listeners if they want to comment on it after the fact on the show. Because I've been working on this and I'm still tweaking it. You'd be amazed at how much I had to tweak this. So basically, if I was to submit to speak at an event for email marketing, I would say through the use of email and social marketing, I give all marketers what they really want: to acquire more customers, increase revenue, and avoid costly mistakes. I love the last part because then your ears perk up and say, am I making mistakes? Right? I better listen to this guy.
Absolutely. Exactly. I want to eliminate mistakes. Absolutely.
So I would say that's a statement, but I need to turn that into a brand promise, right?
Right. Right. Once you start delivering that and you constantly say, look, we reduced these mistakes. We got it out faster. We got to a bigger audience. It got out on time. And you've reduced those mistakes. Then that's the brand promise. But if you say we're going to reduce mistakes, but you don't reduce mistakes,
right,
then you haven't delivered on the brand promise.
Right. Yeah, I'm working on a webinar now. I can't really talk a lot about it, but it talks about the habits of marketers. And if you follow these habits, you'll do a lot better. And therefore, I'm going to tell you what the habits are. And if you actually ingrain them in what you do, you will be more successful, But then again, the onus is on the person listening to me too. So I don't have to deliver anything, but I'm going to deliver the message to you and let you absorb it. And then it's up to you to implement it and turn it into a habit.
Exactly.
All right. Well, it's great to talk to you about that. And I think developing a brand promise is important. I'm going to challenge everyone to go ahead and build a brand promise, almost like you would, a value statement, a mission statement, values. I think that's actually something. Too bad my book's almost done. Maybe I could have added that to my book as another subheading because that's pretty awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about how we can reach you if we wanted to talk to you further, or if somebody was interested in maybe working with you?
Sure. Anybody wanting to work with me and my co-founder can look us up on LinkedIn. My founder's name is Ted Benson. Sometimes he goes by E. Benson. And I'm Jerel Bonner at Corralling Chaos. The Corralling Chaos company profile page on LinkedIn is not up yet because we're still just getting the URL and the domain name registered. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, just send me an invite. However, I will say, if you don't say that you heard about me through our conversation with Hank, and you just send me, hey, Jerel, connect with me, I probably will not accept. I will probably just delete that. So I really am a big stickler as a former LinkedIn employee. If you don't send me an invite that says, hey, Jerel, I saw you talking to Hank on the podcast, and I'd like to connect with you to talk to you about some things, I'll just go, okay, I don't know who this random person is, and if they're not a general manager, I'll probably delete them.
Yeah, as a general rule, and I learned this from someone I know, Chuck Hester. He's actually a LinkedIn expert, and he does a lot of training on LinkedIn. He taught me not to accept generic invites. In other words, if you just click connect, I'd like to connect, I don't accept that. I'll actually reply, and I'll say, I'm not sure if we met. Please remind me if we've did, but I would love to connect with you. Please let me know how I could be a service to you or you of value to me. If there is a reason for me to connect, I'd love to talk about it. Otherwise, good luck to you is pretty much how that goes.
Right.
A lot of times I don't get a response, but sometimes they'll say, I heard your podcast or I saw you speak. I really want to connect with you to talk to you about X. Then I'll probably go ahead and accept that. I think that LinkedIn used to be where it was people that actually physically met or met online.
Mhm.
Now it's everybody's trying to connect to sell. And like you said, you were an employee, you probably know about the changes and how it morphed. But I try to keep my contact base of people that I can actually provide value to, or in turn, maybe I can ask them for something down the road.
Right.
I'll also add any relevant links to the show notes. So if you want to connect with Jerel there, you can just click on the link. Any other links he may be able to provide will be there. If you want to listen to previous episodes, you can go to hankhoffmeyer.com/Alexa and see previous recordings. You can also subscribe on iTunes, on Google Play Store, as well as TuneIn. I just submitted to Stitcher, should be there. You could tell your Amazon Alexa to play the most recent episode. And more importantly, if you're looking for email marketing, I have a special code for my show. It's HMBT. If you go to iContact and start a free trial, if you like iContact, you can just use the code HMBT to get a $30 credit, and that'll be good to get you started. If you're a small company, that's worth maybe 2 to 3 months of free service. So we definitely appreciate you listening today. Jerel, it was a pleasure having you on, and I hope to hear more about brand promises and what you're doing in the area, because you are local here in the Raleigh area. And let's stay in touch. Let's talk about how you are helping businesses do a lot better on delivering what they're promising.
Okay. Thank you very much for having me, Hank.
No problem.
Okay.